So you have all this symmetry of the architecture, but then with the piece you have the symmetry and the chaos. So it ends up to be quite crazy to look at this thing, because you have the symmetrical aspect, but yet the dino side is wider and rounder than the pony side. This setting really helps to highlight that. If you look down the promenade, you get a really fantastic view of the piece. The split is right in the center of the architecture, with the skyscraper going up 100 and some stories behind you. But if you walk around the piece, you really can get a sense of its form and how the split works, and how you have these sense of open skylight into this structure. The split has kind of a severing quality. You can think of Judith and Holofernes, you know. There's kind of a sense of a cut head, and the split is kind of a division that also is mixed with the joy and the aspect of openness and acceptance of a joyful image. The piece comes from, I have a rocking horse, and it was my son's, and I always thought, you know, it'd be great to separate that rocking horse right down the center. And there was another rocker I saw with a dino's head, and to put these two profiles together that don't fit, and then to put the rocking handle, you know, through the heads. So that was really kind of the inspiration. It's very joyous. You have all these plants, and you have nature, and you have, you know, the continuation of life. But at the same time, you have a constant concept of mortality, and how, you know, life is kind of a cycle, and it's a kind of leapfrogging. But you know, death comes into play, just as, you know, the sense of nutrition and things growing and expanding. But people that are coming to work in this area, or who are going to frequent it over the summer, the next couple months, they're going to notice a change. They're going to come by and say, my gosh, that thing is really starting to come alive. It's a lot fuller today. They'll go away for a weekend and come back and notice the change. If they have a really sunny weekend, they'll come back and look at that. So it's going to always have this kind of constant change. You get a really heavy rain, and it'll dehead a lot of the plants, and now you'll have, you know, 3 heads instead of 1. So it's going to be a lot of change. Well, the smaller version is more of a scale of almost like a mask. You could almost imagine wearing something like that. But I think when you talk about the, you know, the outside, kind of the formalistic aspects of it, you know, are the same. But when scale comes into play, this becomes a shelter. This is a place of protection. You could imagine in a child's fantasy, you know, I could live in here. Every artwork is a public work of art. The reason you make it is to communicate. And whether it's just with one viewer at a time, or, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, but it's about communication. And it's letting the viewer know that the art really happens inside them. When somebody comes across something, it should be about, you know, what their potential is, how they can expand their parameters, how meaningful life can be. That's really what you want to be able to receive from a work of art.